34th Annual Conference for next year to be in Raleigh. And the purpose of this webinar today is really to encourage you to speak at the SMRP conference that's coming up. So I'm Emily Schickler. I'm the SMRP Conference Chair for 2026. I'm a Design for Reliability Engineer at Owens Corning. So I'm going to kind of take you through today why you should present at SMRP, some requirements that you need to know about if you want to be a presenter, how to submit a winning abstract so that you can be a presenter and selected as a presenter, and then quick tips on presenting, just kind of some things I've seen that's been good and some things that have been not good, and then I'm going to open up for Q&A. Okay, so why present at the SMRP conference? You're obviously going to get some great visibility, and then my number one reason, though, is for you to share your knowledge and best practices within your peer group. So I think that's been the biggest contributor is when we get practitioners who are willing to share some of the things that they've experienced at the plant and things like that. I really appreciate hearing from my peers specifically, rather than only our partners in the industry. I would really like to hear from folks who are in the plant or in projects and who are experiencing some issues that they're working to correct. So that's the biggest reason we really want to hear from you and contribute back into the industry and contribute back into SMRP. The biggest perk, though, is you get to attend the conference for free, so that conference fee is waived. So if you have any issues getting funded or financed to go to the conference, consider being a speaker. So as a speaking partner, what you're going to do is you're going to speak for, you have an hour time slot, and you can speak anywhere between like 40 to 45 minutes and kind of leave it open for questions. And then the rest of the time, you can just enjoy the conference like you normally would. To be a presenter at the SMRP conference, you do need to be an SMRP member. Just be sure that you're a member before the event. So it doesn't have to happen right away, but you do need to be a member prior to the conference. So now I'm going to take you through the steps to become a presenter. So first, you want to think of a subject matter that you want to present, and then you want to create just the presentation title and description. You don't need to create like a whole presentation. You don't need to create a white paper or anything like that. Just the presentation title and then a description that describes what you're going to be talking about. I also encourage you to create your bio with a professional picture. Just have that professional picture ready to go. The bio is the only thing that we do see. We don't see your picture, in case that makes you feel funny. So the group that goes through and selects all of the abstracts, those are SMRP volunteers. So those volunteers are anywhere between 20 to 25 people, and they do read your bio. They'll read the presentation title and things, but the bio really helps us know who is presenting. So it kind of gives us tidbits like, are you a, CMRP? Are you an SMRP member? How involved have you been? Those kind of things. So those are things we do pay attention to when we're ranking all of the submissions. And then you go through the application. I'm not going to take you through the entire application. It's very easy to follow. It's just an online form, and it asks for your title and description, and then your bio and any other supporting information about your presentation, like what track it might be in and things like that. But it's really simple to go through. But you do need to submit that online. And then there's a waiting period where we have some folks who are going to be going through and ranking all the abstracts. And during that waiting period, that's what we're doing, is we're trying to rank, and figure out who all we want to select for the SMRP conference coming up. So yeah, just wait for feedback. Here are some really important deadlines. So the submission period opens and closes. We give it about a month. So February timeframe is usually when it opens, and then March it'll close. And then that gives us about a month to go through all of the abstracts. We might get anywhere between 200 to 300 abstracts in any given year. We tend to get a lot more partners who submit abstracts than we do practitioners. So if you are a practitioner, you do get ranked, you know, a little bit higher for your submissions because we don't get as many folks who are practitioners. Then we will let you know at the end of April whether we're going to move forward or be an alternate. And then in May, we need to know if you're going to be able to come if you are accepted. So what happens quite often, actually, is our alternates move up to accepted because we do get some folks who can't attend. So even though you're an alternate, don't be offended. There's lots of abstracts that we have to go through. And sometimes if you have a very common topic, you know, we may have a lot of the same topic, and then it's really difficult, even though they're all great presentations, to fit them all in. So then if you have a really common topic, you might be an alternate, or if it's just too common, it may not be accepted. But if you are an alternate, please don't take offense to that. We really liked it, but we were just trying to make sure that we catered down all of our presentations so that it's just that one note throughout the conference. And then conference registration will open, and then we do need your PowerPoints back. So that's when you'll have from like April to July to work on your presentation and then submit it to us. And then be sure to register. We'll send you a code if you are selected presenter. You'll get a code so that you won't have to pay the conference fee. And then, of course, annual conference is September 28th to October 1st of next year. All right, so let me go through submitting and winning an abstract. So I do use the term abstract. That's an old term that we've adopted. So back in the day for SMRP, we did require a white paper. And then part of that white paper, we would ask for just the abstract, which was the summary of your paper. So we've kept that term, but really what it means is just a description of your presentation. So we no longer require white papers, but we still require a description of your presentation. So some key components for a very strong description of your presentation is, you know, make sure your title is clear, concise, and engaging. Sometimes they get really ambiguous titles, and I don't like that because I don't know what you're going to be presenting on. And then our attendees for the SMRP conference, when they see your title, they also won't know what they're going to, you know, you're going to be presenting on, and they may not dig into the description before they just discount going into your session. So make sure that it's very clear in description and kind of hooks the audience. Make sure that you use the description as an opportunity to show what is unique about your presentation and what's someone going to learn, you know, and how is it relevant to reliability or maintenance professional. We have had abstract submissions before that weren't relevant to reliability and maintenance professionals. It was like, I remember one was like negotiating bids. Typically, reliability and maintenance professionals don't negotiate bids. Typically, that is sourcing who are negotiating bids. So for that reason, we didn't select it. So just make sure that it is prevalent to folks. And if you feel like it is a little bit of a stretch, where, you know, some may find it prevalent, some may not, just be descriptive. Be descriptive. You know, explain why maintenance and reliability professionals should care about this subject and what they're going to learn at the end of the day. Common mistakes that I do see is that, again, the description, not only is the title can be unclear, but the description sometimes is really vague and like generic. And I feel like they did it because they wanted to present, but they didn't really know what they're going to present on. And so they were trying to give themselves a lot of wiggle room for their presentation. But what that does is it just creates confusion. And I don't really know what the presentation is going to be about. So then you're disqualified because I have no idea what you're going to present on. Another one's really boring. I've read some boring descriptions. So when I read really boring, dull descriptions, what I wonder is the presentation going to be really dull? So please keep it engaging. It's just me and some volunteers, some SMRP volunteers, anywhere between 20 to 25 of us who are reading through these. So make sure you keep it engaging. I really enjoy seeing real world examples. So in your description, you can talk about how you're going to, include real world examples or what the audience may see from a real world example. Make it just really prevalent to folks because that keeps them engaged and keeps them interested in your topic. So there's a long scoring list. I think it's like 20 different factors that we score. The key ones I just wanted to outline here for you. So if you have a CMRP, you are ranked higher. If you have a co-speaker and they have their CMRP, that is ranked higher too. So if you don't have your CMRP, but you're going to be co-presenting with a CMRP, that's great. For those of you who are industry partners, have a co-presenter who is a practitioner. We really like to see practitioners partnering with the industry partners during these presentations, and you will immediately be bumped up on the list if you have a practitioner co-presenting with you. Anything that's commercial in nature, we throw out. We don't even want to mess around with it. We are not trying to push sales at SMRP Conference. We are a learning organization. I actually had, I think it was a couple years ago, I actually had one industry partner complain they didn't get selected. And then I let them know, we are unbiased group of people. We don't look at who you are. We look at the content of what you're presenting on. And that's what qualifies you in the SMRP. So we try to be as unbiased as possible. We are really just looking for quality for our SMRP members. New information or technology is very appealing for us. We just want to know what's new on the market, or maybe you're using something in a different way that we haven't seen before. Those things will really help you stand out. There's lots of online learning you can have for presenting and tips on presenting. These are the things that I just wanted to highlight for you that I've noticed have been kind of game changers for folks who are presenting. I've noticed that some presentations feel really under-rehearsed. There is a rule of thumb. So for every minute of presentation, that's the number of rehearsals. So we typically ask your presentation to be anywhere between 40 to 45 minutes and leave 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A. So if your presentation is that long, you should be practicing it over 40 times. So it may just feel like a lot of rehearsing. Even if you do 10 rehearsals, I think you'll find how valuable that is to you. I've actually taken my presentation and I've rehearsed it in front of my own colleagues. Our building is quite large. There's about 400 to 500 people working in my building. And I invited everybody to my presentation just for me to practice. But what that did is actually give me a lot of exposure into my company. So another great reason why you want to present at SMRP is it's an opportunity to showcase yourself within your own organization as well. Second thing, make your message sticky. So what I mean by that is that let it stick in people's memory. Tie it to real life examples. Allow that story to evoke emotion like urgency or courage or trust. And so that those technical concepts are much more relatable and then they remember it. So I remember a maintenance engineer was presenting at SMRP and they were telling a story about a pump failure at a chemical plant. And instead of just kind of hop skipping over that, he dove into that story. And he started listing really technical details and frantic phone calls he was dealing with. He was even telling me the smell of the chemicals in the air and the team scrambling around. And that message really stuck with me, but the purpose of that message also stuck with me. So I would highly encourage you find 1, 2, even 3, real life experiences or stories that you can weave into your presentation, and that makes it really memorable. Lastly, please stay professional. So while you're presenting, don't talk about politics or religion. Don't comment on the people that are in the audience, things like that. Just be really professional so that people really take the content of what you're presenting seriously. All right, so get involved, please, please, please be a speaker. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to email me. I'd be happy to answer your questions. But I will open it up now for questions within the audience. Do we have any questions, Meredith? I don't know.
None yet. Anybody can put questions in the chat or unmute yourself and ask if you'd like.
Hey, good morning. I have a quick question. Have you already filled all of the volunteer slots for the abstract reviewers and the content reviewers?
We have not talked to our reviewers yet. We usually kind of see who's still interested. So if you are interested, feel free to shoot me or Meredith an email, and then I'll make sure to include you as a potential volunteer. For that, just so you're aware, it's quite a bit of time. Not crazy, but we do want you to review abstracts, and then you'll also be reviewing the presentations as well. And then we would like you to be a volunteer within the room. So if you've been to SMRP conference before, you'll notice that there's some folks in the room who kind of help the presenter get ready and make sure their microphone's working. So you will need to be in a room at all times.
Okay, and like at least planning to attend the conference then, but that may or may, well, anyway. I've done it in the past. It's been really enjoyable.
Oh, okay.
And
absolutely, okay.
I haven't made all of the conferences, but you know, I'll definitely put my name in the hat to review again for next year.
We'd love to have volunteers. Yeah, and if you also would like to speak, there's no problem with you also speaking and being a volunteer in that way. You know, we've had volunteers also be speakers as well. We just don't have them review their own abstracts.
Right. And do the volunteers who are reviewing the abstracts and presentations, do they need to be SMRP members as well?
They typically are. Yeah, okay. So they're also SMRP members.
Okay. Perfect. I will I'll let you know.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks for the question. That's a great question. At SMRP, it's been a really, really enlightening experience, really great experience. I think I've presented maybe 3 or 4 times, and I've been offered a job twice, so at 2 different speaking events. So I think also just getting your name out there in the industry is really great. You never know what other opportunities are out there. So I think it's also a really great opportunity just to you know, make yourself a little bit more known in the SMRP world. Just to reassure you a little bit, if you're interested in speaking, if you do become a speaker, we do have someone in the room with you who can support you. So they help set up your presentation. They help put on a microphone or a handheld microphone. They do some sound checks. They ask you if you need anything, those kind of things. So you do have some support in the room. It's not like you kind of walk in the room and got to figure it out. So you do have some support in the room if you are a speaker. All righty, well, looks like we don't have any questions, so I will call it a day. I'll just hang on for a minute just in case anybody else does, but everybody, you're more than welcome to get 10 minutes back on lunch. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.